Welcome to the Lummy Sports Show with the Filthy minus Brian for a third straight week.
What's going on?
Babyface is not here, Rhett.
What's going on? We're losing our star.
I mean, you got Rhett right now. He's in the Brian seat pretty much. Brian is at home. He's got a little sickness in his family, and he's kind of taking care of that. I totally understand. You know, but that's 3 weeks in a row. I mean, Rhett, what are you thinking? You thinking he's just, making excuses here and there?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to get mad this week in particular. I'm not going to put his business out there, but
I understand this week.
Some stuff going on, I guess. Like it happens. I'm not going to get upset.
No, of course not. I mean,
but
Brian, he is the star of the show.
It is a little coincidental that maybe 2-3 weeks ago we got a fancy new thumbnail to complement the rest of the thumbnails on the YouTube channel, try and make stuff look a little uniform, right? I put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you worked really hard on that.
It took me a little bit of time, and ever since we have rolled out the new look, Lummy Sports Show, he has been nowhere to be found. I'm not saying it's a coincidence, but maybe he just doesn't like it. That's his way of telling us.
I was going to say, maybe he doesn't like the picture you used.
Maybe he doesn't like the rebrand. I didn't use anything offensive. It's a lot better than the picture they used for the left-right screwed thumbnail.
But maybe he likes that one now, though.
Oh, maybe that's the one he wants.
Maybe he's adopted that one.
Yeah, maybe I should go swap it out.
I mean, the picture you used on it, if anyone, when they click on it, that's the Lummy Sports Show, right?
It's a picture from like our Facebook page or something.
Yeah.
I think it's Instagram.
He looks actually somewhat rugged.
Yeah. I could have picked way worse pictures.
813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-BUBBA. Call us up. We're talking all sports. Obviously, when I mean all sports, it's mainly going to be football, maybe a little bit of baseball, and back to football. I looked at yours too. Your picture looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I look like the homeless guy that's sitting in a minor league stadium.
Yeah, but you're smack dab in the middle. That's not a bad picture.
It is an empty stadium.
It is not a bad picture. You're in a stadium. Look at that.
All right, let me ask you. So,
fitting.
if I was sitting there all by myself at a game,
you're the man in the arena,
and you're walking down, and you see me, and your seat's right next to mine, what pops in your head?
And it was empty?
Well, no. Like I'm sitting in the seat, and you're walking down, and my seat is, let's say, number 2, and you bought number 1. And you just wanted to go to this game, and you see me. What are you thinking if you don't know me?
I mean, I'm hoping there's maybe some dead space, because you know how sometimes you go to a game and like it's packed, but there's still a couple of dead chairs.
Yeah,
that never get filled up. Maybe there's one of those close enough to where I can respectfully.
But let's just say there's
kind
not.
Of sneak over. Let's
it's
just
almost,
say there's not.
Let's say there's not. It's almost like an airplane.
Listen, if
it's
this
a
makes
sellout,
you feel,
and an airplane.
If this makes you feel any better. We were in the club, so maybe the seats are a little bigger.
They were a lot bigger, Red.
Were they?
Yes. Because last year I had the seats right in front of us. What I mean is the next section below, the red seats.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely miserable, and you felt pretty comfortable. But
it was a good experience for me.
Let's just say it was a 300 level. It's a Super Bowl. They had no standing room only. And you have to sit by me. Are you kind of regretting your purchase?
No, I don't think so.
Are you thinking like, who's the homeless guy?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rod. Are you just telling me that because you?
No, I mean, like to be honest, I feel like I've been to enough sporting events and concerts and packed amusement parks in my lifetime to where it's like sometimes it's just uncomfortable and you gotta deal with it. You gotta deal with it. Like. Fuck it. Like, what is this guy going to do? You know what I mean? Like, he's probably just as uncomfortable as I am.
That was always my big thing when I used to travel a lot on airplanes, was what the people would think. Because I would always, either Southwest, I'd get A, so I'd always be able to board quickly, or fly JetBlue and get the extra leg room. And I always hoped for a seat next to me, but I was always wondering, like, when people were loading in and blah, blah, blah. And, when you're in A and Southwest, people kind of just walk by you, even though I'm like in the exit seat, but I'm wondering what they're thinking,
right?
When they're seeing me, like, I'm glad I'm not stuck next to that fat fuck.
I mean, at the end of the day, it does suck thinking about sometimes because like I'll get caught up on like, oh, what is this person going to think if I do this or if I say this, especially if I'm out in public. Because most of the time when I go out in public,
you're high.
Well, I'm high, which means I don't want to bring attention to myself. You know what I mean? I'd rather just blend in, look like any other ordinary MFer in the store, and just move along. So, I mean, that part of it, I totally get, but life can't be comfortable all the time. Like, if you know you're going to be in a situation where you potentially run the risk of making a little bit of unnecessary contact with other people, like, you kind of get what you sign up for. It's unfortunate because sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but like I never ever want to be the person who's like, "Hey, I'm uncomfortable. Can I move?" Or
recently there's been some stories too where the people are like trying to sue the airlines for making them sit.
Just confrontations between like people confronting other people because they don't want to move because they want to sit next to their wife or their kid or something like that. And
like you said, shit happens.
Yeah, I mean, fucking deal with it sometimes.
I mean, yeah, so Brett and I went to the Bucks game on Monday.
You and who?
The Filthy.
Oh, it sounded like you said Brett.
No, Brett.
Oh.
Brett, the Filthy. And obviously the Bucks waited to the last 4 seconds of the whole fucking game to make a comeback, which made me absolutely miserable in the whole fourth quarter, which I was venting my frustration to you, Rhett.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it the whole time. I thought some late game heroics by Tom Brady did a really good job of making me forget how 97% of that football game made us feel. Because, I mean, you, me, and pretty much everyone else around us was just bitching about it.
The dark match Steve in front of us, and then the guy behind us, we're all agreeing with the same thing. And if you didn't watch it, and if you only seen the highlights from the last fourth quarter, that might be one of the most boring games I have attended. It's outside of the Rams game this year.
It's the best worst Bucks game I've ever been to. Like I wish I had some edibles for it. Because
to get to that fourth quarter,
right? Yeah, just something to bring me home because we were up in the club, and honestly, I had a good time watching the game regardless. Like, I like going to the games. I like the atmosphere. But once people started flooding out about the third quarter, it always, like, you kind of lose an element of fun in the stadium because there's not as many people. And,
I thought your excitement level, if we would have carried the whole game, I probably would have got up and walked away. That first high five you gave me on that sack really hurt my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rhett. So the first sack of the game, which I think was the only sack of the whole game.
I guess lucky for you.
You jumped up and you were screaming, "Let's go!"
Yeah,
and he turns around
buddy.
and I'm trying to get up kind of, and I'm like, I'm not going to get up now. Yeah, and he just turns around and gives me like 100% smack.
Then you wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere near me when they won the game.
No, I'm glad that you were in your legal section down by the pirate ship.
That was probably like the last drive of the game. Watching the game was probably the most fun I've had at a Bucks game in a long time. And like I went to a couple of games 2020, 21, went to a lot more wins. Like Miami last year, 21, that was a really good game because they scored like 45 or something.
Yeah.
Like I've been to a lot of really good games over the years, but like that one just it meant a little bit more because of who they were playing. Like fuck the Saints. I'm so glad they swept New Orleans this year.
Oh yeah,
and we don't have to hear that shit for another year.
And then I knew that one thing too is I don't like Jameis, and I just saw him on the sidelines a couple of times. They put him on the big screen, the jumbotron, and you could just tell he's with that that 16-3 lead. He was getting cocky, and he was going to start rapping in the locker room or whatever the hell he does. So I was happy about that. But obviously, the Bucks are playing the 49ers this week. And the way they looked against the Dolphins, I'm pretty nervous going in. And I mean, do you see this being the turning point for the Bucks going out west for a 25 game, or do you think the Bucks are going to lay an egg like they did against the Browns, where even though the game was shit, and this week, do you think this turns it around? You think the swagger? Because I felt that way after the Seahawks game.
Right. Well, yeah, because we were headed into the bye, and we assumed that with a little bit of extra rest, maybe now everybody's got their shit together, right? Maybe the boys grab dinner over the bye week and they come back and they play. But they came back and they laid a stinker against Cleveland.
And see, Roger Dawson says, well, they're Jimmy G less. Yes. But Rhett and I talked about it on Monday, and Rhett, what was your opinion on that one?
I mean, they are Jimmy G less, but they still have a talented roster. They have a good defense, and that's what's been winning them more games than Jimmy G has this year.
But
and as long as they got any sort of plug and play quarterback that can run a basic offense, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. You know what I mean? He's going to put Brock Purdy in a position, high percentage looks, throwing the ball, short, quick routes, underneath stuff. It's nothing the Bucs haven't seen so far at this point in the season. As far as the game goes, like I have my expectations.
I don't. You know what I have is what we talked about. The 49ers could go get the fucking water boy out there and put him in at quarterback. And for some reason, the Bucs can't play against a absolute irrelevant quarterback, as they're calling him. Look what we made the ginger from the Saints look like.
Well, let me offer you a rebuttal here, because I was also really upset with how Andy Dalton looked. And I think the reason he looked better than he did is because the pass rush against the Saints, there was the Levante David sack at the beginning of the game. There was the Carl Nassib sack at the end, maybe one in between, but they really weren't getting after him. Like when he was throwing the ball, there wasn't much pressure. He had 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds to just stand there, look around, finally find somebody. And aside from them getting bailed out by a couple of bad drops and Mark Ingram running out of bounds at the end of the game.
Yes, 3 times.
Three
bad drops.
He was on point, had a couple of bad throws, but he was like 20 for 28, 229 yards and a touchdown. Realistically, this Bucs defense has still been playing well enough to win games. Like,
no, yeah, you're right.
The final score was 16-17, and the Bucs defense is number 5 in scoring as far as rankings go in the NFL. Like, they're playing really well.
But Brett, like we kind of talked about on Monday, Bucs defense can hold them under 20, but if the Bucs offense can't score against the 49ers, and then now we're looking at where we're doing the same thing, field goal when we get down there on our first drive, we keep doing those field goals. The Bucs defense can keep them in, but once again, I have a feeling that the quarterback, the third stringer that they got, what's his name?
Brock Purdy,
Mr. Irrelevant. I could see him scoring 14 to 17 points. Or the Bucs is the Bucs offense going to turn the corner?
I think they could probably score 14, 17 points as well.
Even though we cut our best special teams player of all time.
Get the fuck out of here!
You already know how I feel about that guy. I fucking hate that guy. I've hated that guy since they've been putting him back there. It's come out, I guess, that all these teams want to pick him up because he ran a 4.46. Everyone runs a 4.46 nowadays.
For anybody not up to speed, Lummy is referring to his favorite Buccaneer of all time, one Jalen Darden, who I think the Bucs traded up to get in the 4th round of the 2021 draft.
You are correct on that also.
From North Texas, he was a damn good return specialist, and honestly, I was excited when I saw the pick and I was watching his highlights and stuff. I know it was North Texas, but I was like, damn, this kid's got vision. He's quick. And then, that 4.40 he talked about. But ever since he's been in the NFL, he plays like he's scared to get hit. And he just hasn't been good as a returner. He hasn't found a role as a wide receiver whatsoever. And when you're not good on special teams and you're already not playing on offense, you're not going to be here.
And you know who he reminds me of? And I think you watched it back then in 2003 when they drafted, what's his name? Jackson. Deshaun Jackson. Fuck, what was his name?
Dexter.
Dexter Jackson out of Appalachian State. He looked like a superstar too, man. But guess what? He didn't want to get hit. And when he got hit, then he started fumbling and he started missing punts. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy, he's fumbled a couple, but and Dexter Jackson was running a 4.40.
Right.
I mean, just because he's fast, but I guess because I mentioned it to you during the show today because it popped up on my news feed. The actual article was, I guess on social media, all these fans are wanting their team to pick him up. And the Chargers should get him, the Bears should get him, the Giants should pick. Oh, good luck. Good fucking luck.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, to a certain degree, you can be the man in college, and when you get to the NFL, there's a lot of things that change, and not everything translates as easily. And the fact of the matter is, the return game in the NFL is beefed up a little bit. He just plays like he's scared. That was my biggest gripe, is that he never wanted to get hit. He never wanted to field a catch. To spare 5-10 yards of the ball bouncing back in the Bucs territory, he'd always run up, fair catch it. Other team would get a really great spot. Or he would just get it and run out of bounds. He just didn't. He
got his 10, 15 yards and run out of bounds. He never went for that extra 3-4 yards.
He had a couple of big returns while he was here. He had one last year that was like 40 yards. He had one this year that was pretty good. But aside from that, there's really nothing else I can think of to where it's like, oh, he changed the game. Like,
he never did.
No, he just wasn't the presence they needed. But I don't know. Who do you think they're going to have returning punts against San Fran this week?
I don't think Julio's going to do it, even though he has before.
Oh, hell no. They're not going to put fucking
I know.
Julio. They'll put Scotty Miller over Julio.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, Scotty Miller, or didn't Vaughn return some?
Keyshawn, they had him do like 2 or 3. Rashad White was doing them in the preseason, and I think a little bit at the beginning of the season. I think he was doing kickoffs at the beginning of the season. I wouldn't want to see Rashad White out there.
I'd rather see Scotty Miller.
I'd rather see Scotty Miller. You know what I mean? He's going to have a more pivotal role. He had one catch against the Saints, and Tom Brady was throwing to fucking everybody. Like he had
he had 2 drops. I think
he had like 9 or 10 receivers in that game.
Yeah, he was spreading the ball out.
Yeah. So as far as my expectations go, I think the difference maker for the Bucs on Sunday, and I think what's going to help them win if they win this game, is going to be their ability to take the ball away. I think the 49ers are going to set up. They're not going to throw it deep, and that's the problem. They're not going to stretch the field. They're not going to take any chances with the football, but you're going to have to find a way to win the turnover battle. Like, force a fumble, fucking knock it out of somebody's hands.
And like that's why realistically the Saints, with them dropping the ball really helped us out. But if I feel like the 49ers are going to do exactly what the Saints did, and you saw it was dink and dunk. Yeah, okay, he was 20 for 28 for 223, but that was driving. It was driving us. Yeah, and they were taking the clock down. They were taking the clock down. It was putting our defense on, and our offense right now for the Buccaneers is, and it has been quick 3 and outs. And that's when our defense gets tired.
That's how you cut the Bucs up. You know what I mean? That's how any team cuts the Bucs up this year. It's just short yardage situations, steady plays, steady conversions. And as far as the Bucs go, San Francisco has a good defense. But I still think the Bucs could probably put 17 points on their defense. Like, the Saints' defense isn't what it was, but it's still a pretty okay defense. Like, they had Cam Jordan. I thought the offensive line played okay for what they had. I mean, Josh Wells is your right tackle. Donovan Smith is your only starter from last year. Like, they should be okay.
When's your brother coming back?
I'm sorry?
When's your brother coming back?
Talking about Luke Gadicke?
No, Ryan Jensen.
Oh, god damn, I know. I don't know.
Come on, how would you not pick up your brother? I mean, it's the only redhead on the line.
Well, Luke Gadicke's got red hair. Keith has got red hair. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, the most famous of the line.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So the long flowing mane.
Exactly. What a stud. I remember the bare knuckle fighting.
I don't know why there's like a CIA level intelligence fucking, clearance on his injury description.
I thought it was 2 weeks ago he was going to be good.
There was a report in October that said he would be back by late November. The Bucs were optimistic, but I had seen a couple of people who had different sources dispute that.
He's been out of practice. I know not practicing, but I think he's walking around.
Yeah, he's been walking around uninhibited. He's been on the Bucs sidelines. I don't know if you saw the video. Tristan Wirfs looks okay too. It doesn't. I hate to say he looks okay because he's in shorts and a t-shirt, but like Tom Brady jumped and rode his shoulders after the game. I feel like if Tristan Wirfs and his bum knee weren't able to handle that,
yeah, it would be a lot.
Brady's easily 200.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's as bad. I think they're probably going to hold him out after this game and bring him back against the Bengals. See how this game turns out.
Right.
I mean, they're not gonna. I think they're gonna have him take one more week off. Sorry.
I was just gonna say one more thing about the defense. They gotta make takeaways, and the problem with their turnover ability so far this year, and I hate to say it's concerning because it's kind of just chance, but like they're not even getting close to turnovers. You know what I mean? Like they haven't gotten any balls that pop up in the air. They haven't been anywhere near an interception or an incomplete pass to where it's like, oh, he's covered enough to where I can reach over and make this play. Like that's how they got a lot of their picks in 2021. It felt like.
They're not making that. Like they're kind of playing back and they're not making those quick cuts up.
Right. Like you just got to be in the right place at the right time. I totally get it, but you would like to see a little more takeaways, especially because they have been playing as well as they have been. But I think if they can do that and figure out the red score or red zone play calling, I think they should be all right.
God, they need to figure that out. 813-90-BUBBA, 813-90-Bubba. I was going to say, speaking of knees, Lamar Jackson got hurt.
I did see that,
sprain.
which means they've got Tyler Huntley.
He last year he looked good. I mean, he's not going to lead them to a Super Bowl, but he looks like a fill gap.
Didn't he play the year before too for a little bit?
Yeah, that's where I saw him last year. He was doing just enough to kind of have him win some games. I mean, do you see Lamar Jackson coming back? If they start losing, they're down. They may not make the playoffs. Does Lamar just hit the rest of the season out?
If they make the playoffs, he'll be back by the playoffs. To be honest, because I mean, there's 5 games left.
Yeah, they play Pittsburgh this week.
Pittsburgh, and then who else?
Cleveland, at Cleveland. It was at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, away Atlanta, away Pittsburgh, and then
that's a lot of
Cincinnati.
Division games.
Yeah,
that's a lot of division games. Yeah, shit.
And supposedly it's 1 to 3 weeks right now.
I think
he's a free agent next year.
He'll obviously be out against Pittsburgh. I saw they did they officially rule him out?
He's questionable, and it says he's been diagnosed with a PCL sprain in his left knee.
Harbaugh said likely not. Quote, likely not going to play him this week.
Well,
but
it says
didn't rule him out.
It says, they said it's questionable, but the doctor said that his injury requires 1 to 3 weeks in order to recover. I don't think they want to rush him back like the the Washington Commanders did.
Whoa!
Yeah. The Washington.
Damn,
he was on the team like that when RG3 was on the Washington team. They rushed him back, and I don't see them. I don't see the Ravens doing that. Do you?
No, I don't think so. Especially not with a contract year coming up. I think you obviously want to make the playoffs, and that's a lot of division games. But when you're playing Pittsburgh and you're playing Cleveland, who now has Deshaun Watson, who kind of sucks.
Yeah, he doesn't really look too good.
Yeah, it didn't look great. But I think you can probably get by 2 or 3 weeks at most.
Because the Bengals are hot right now.
The Bengals are.
And they're playing. The last game is in Cincinnati. They're on a 4-game winning streak. But the Browns, obviously, like you said, the Browns and the Steelers are both on 2-game winning. I mean, the division is closer than I think a lot of people were expecting.
I think the Steelers game is going to be tough. You know what I mean? Because they do have TJ Watt back, right?
Yeah, and they're feeling good.
Yeah, and their defense always kind of plays in spurts. Like, beginning of the year, they're good. Middle of the year, they get hurt, and they slow down. End of the year, they usually play strong. They've got a good defense, and they could probably figure Huntley out.
And then I think the Browns, I mean, by then it's going to be his 3rd game, Deshaun's 3rd game. And then they pretty much keep going back and forth. So
I don't know what their seeding situation looks like in the AFC, to be honest, with Baltimore in particular. Because they've won 7 games, 8
games. Currently, because they're winning the division.
3 seed.
Well, because they're winning the division. The Bengals are coming up. So right now it's 8-4, and then you got the Steelers and the Browns at 5-7.
Okay, so if one of them make a play on the division, I mean, I know there are a couple of games.
Yeah.
I know there are a couple of games back, but what's their division record? Baltimore 2-0.
2-0.
So realistically, they could lose 2 or 3 of those last division games and probably still win the division. You think? Let me see.
I mean, right now, because the Bengals,
Cleveland could take it if they win,
and the Bengals are 1-3 in the division.
That's the thing, is that the Bengals and Pittsburgh, I hate to say you could drop those games, but as long as you beat Cleveland once,
you should lock it in.
You should be able to shore up that division. But if they miss the playoffs, then you ride off into the sunset with no Lamar Jackson on a contract year. You try and talk him down.
What if they give him a franchise?
They could. He's coming off of an injury.
Yeah, but I mean, how desperate are they?
Is there a rule about that?
The franchise tag?
Well, the franchise tag and injured players, or I mean, it's not. I mean,
it's not. I don't think it's advised. I don't think it's advised to give a person coming out that's what they were kind of talking about with Dak when Dak was coming off his injured.
I thought there was a technicality about it.
I don't think so. I think they can pretty much, you can franchise anybody you want. I mean, the price tag's going to be high just with all the quarterbacks. The price that he will get paid. I mean, you got to remember Kirk Cousins when he was with the Washington Commanders. I think they franchised him 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And he was one of the highest paid quarterbacks for a while.
Yeah.
And he was kind of just subpar.
That's just how that just feels like that's how he's made his money his entire career.
And driving his grandma's minivan for the first 10 years.
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
I think honestly, in the long run, though, Baltimore is going to use this as a tactic to try and offer him less money.
Hoping that the PCL sprain's a little worse.
Right. What happened at the end of the season, champ?
And I think, how long was he hurt last year? I think he was hurt
like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, and was that a knee injury? Or is that shoulder?
I'll look it up right now.
Oh, let's take this call while we look it up. 727. 727.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. It's Hot Carl. Don't Google me.
I figured that. And I figured I was about to say, is this Hot Carl?
So, about you guys getting ready to face the 49ers, man.
Well, I mean, I did watch that Dolphins game. I'm sure you did too. And
yeah, I was heartbroken because Tua just he got into his head.
It was a bone bruise at the end of the year, by the way.
That's the Dolphins thing with Tua now, is that he just got into his head?
Well, no, he had a bad game, but I just wanted to compare something. At least at the end of the game, he actually took accountability for it and actually admitted that it was all on him. And he said, no one else to blame but myself, really. And then you compare that with the Zach Wilson that totally didn't take any accountability for it, and look where he's at now. Not to mention we had two of our starting offensive linemen out. But I was pretty surprised, and I'll tell you right now, man, don't sleep on that, what's his name, Brock Purdy?
Yeah, Brock Purdy. Just because the Dolphins' defense made him look delicious? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I mean, Christian Wilkins had career 12 tackles, and he's number 2 in the league for defensive lineman.
Well, you know how many points the fucking Dolphins D got me in fantasy this week? 0. 0.0.
Did you have them as your D?
Yes, I did. Well, and I was excited when Jimmy G went down because I'm like, oh, the Dolphins D looked really good. They've been looking, pretty good most of the year. And I took a chance because I needed, they were sitting there and I needed a defense, and they really let me down.
We had an off game, and we're going to go and beat the Chargers. And all these people that go into your DMs directly after a loss, specifically Bills fans and whatnot, they can go fuck right off, because the truth is, we've already beaten the Bills. We're going to beat the Jets. We're going to beat the Patriots again. And the Chargers, that's our last chance for Tua to really show what he's got. But
why does Tua why does Tua hate Gesicki?
That's what breaks my heart more than anything, because that was one of my
first
jerseys. Yeah,
you're telling us at the beginning of the year.
And to be honest, he's been hitting Durham Smythe more than he's been hitting Gesicki, their other friggin' tight end. And, I don't know what's going on. He's been spreading the ball around the field to a lot of different players. And I have to say that
Gesicki guy, how many passes he got yesterday? Or not yesterday, Sunday?
I think he had maybe 1 or 2, and the one that he had, it looked like he might have caught it, but then when the other camera angle hit, it was a total fumble flop. But hey,
0.
I'll let you guys go and continue on. But one last thing I wanted to say was, who I'm really starting to get a little concerned about is Jalen Waddle. I mean, if you look at the past 2 or 3 games, he's been dropping a lot of passes out of very uncharacteristic of him.
Hold on, I was actually going to say the complete opposite of what you're saying, is because Jalen Waddle got hurt. I think he busted up his knee or something like that. He was trying to come back. Yeah, he had 5 targets, 1 catch. I was going to say, I think that's one reason also too he didn't have his guy in Jalen, why he looked so shitty with his, because he can't always hit Tyreek 15 yards downfield while he waits for the ball. But
it was a hard game, because the first play of the game, he throws a dart like a flag route to Trent Sherfield, and he runs down the field for a touchdown. The first
75 yards.
Play of the game.
You know what? If you look at Tua's stats, the majority of his yards came on 2 long passes.
Yeah,
and that's what I've said the whole time. And when he doesn't have those dink and dunks, which I don't know whether he doesn't go to Gesicki more, and now he lost Waddle because Waddle was getting a lot of those underneath passes. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, and well, I was very not well. Just maybe take a look at some highlights on Waddle. He has not been performing. He's been dropping a lot of passes recently.
He's also been getting thrown into coverage too.
Yeah. Anyways, brother, but anyways, take it easy and look out for those 49ers, man, because I thought I was confident that we were going to go in there and whoop some butt, but
so did I. Did I. I bet the money line. I bet the point spread, and giving up that late touchdown.
You gotta remember one thing though. Our elite guy that we got from the Ravens, Terran Armstead, as much as he wanted to play because he is such a good guy, he's saving it to play for the Chargers, I think. And he wasn't in that game, and when he's not in that game, man, Tua gets nervous. Like that guy runs the offensive line. So, and Austin Jackson was out, and we had Greg Little and.
Well, that's where Tua and Tom Brady make a big difference. If you look at it, Tom Brady has only one starter from last season on the offensive line, and maybe people. That was the goatness, man. I honestly, I did not watch the game. I kept checking in, and I was like, same thing. I left the bar the other game. What was it, the Rams? He did the same thing in like the last. Yeah. I literally same thing. I left the bar. I get the notification on the way home. Are you effing kidding me? And then I'm sitting in bed and I get the notification, and I'm like, dude, this guy. I have mad respect for him, but. He tortured us for so long on when he was with the Patriots, so it's hard for me to root for him. But anyways, guys, take it easy and look out for that Brock Purdy guy, man. Yeah, we will. Trust me, we will. He's gonna kill us.
All right.
See you, Carl. What did I say about Tua? What did I say? I've been waiting to talk about Tua.
I mean, guys get hot in the NFL.
Guys also have mental problems.
Even bench players play well, but I think it's just longevity. I think it's consistency. Like Tua's been able to make some throws this year. He's obviously been throwing touchdowns.
Couple throws.
Listen,
Tua had the Fox interview before where he's like, "Oh, I thought I sucked. I just didn't think I was good."
Right.
And now I got confidence. Yeah, because I could throw the ball up 50 yards, and Tyreek Hill, who's wide open, has to come back 20 yards to catch it. But I don't have my offensive lineman that I like now. So I'm going to have the worst game ever.
I do think this is just my personal opinion, but I do think self-awareness by quarterbacks in particular gets a little annoying. Like if a wide receiver goes up there and has a 200-yard game and he's talking a little shit on the podium, I guess it's one thing. But like when a quarterback does it, especially someone like, unfortunately, Tua, like this is the first year he's really been the man, and it's just... It's such a bad look when guys get up there and they're like, "Oh, I thought I sucked," and they're just like smart-assy comments. I'm not a big fan of that.
I mean, it's a little bit better than Zach Wilson's.
I would rather have him playing confident than playing scared. You know what I mean? I think Tom Brady has had a case of the yips. He doesn't entirely like playing behind this offensive line in the state that it is right now.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him, but they have been fair. They have been fair.
They've been fair, and you know what? I mean? And Tom Brady's still putting up good stats.
When he threw a dime to DeMario Davis the other night, I thought, I thought there was one or two other guys in the field that were probably open that he just didn't look for. Like he got the ball out so quick that, you know what I mean? It's almost a delayed reaction to the pick.
Well, he kind of has to. I think they showed the stat where he's only getting 2.5 to 3 seconds to throw the ball.
No, he's choosing to throw the ball 2.5, 3 seconds.
No, but there's time that he's feeling that pressure.
Yeah, but that's the pressure he's not going to be feeling if it's the same exact situation last year and he's got Ryan Jensen, Ali Marpet.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. I get it, but the fact of the matter is it's hard to put it on this Bucs offensive line because they haven't been as bad as people want to make them out to be. They haven't. I mean, they're not fucking, they're not Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen and Alex Kappa and all those guys, Tristan Wirfs, but they are certainly making the most of it for being a ragtag group right now. I mean, you've got two rookies. Nick Leverett's not necessarily a rookie, but he's an inexperienced guy. Luke Gedeke before that was kind of stinking it up, so they made the necessary change. Tristan Wirfs is the best right tackle in the NFL when he's healthy, and they're going to be without him probably for another week in a row, I think.
Yeah, I think he's going to be sit out this week, and I think he'll come back against the Bengals. But let me ask you, do you know who leads the NFL since 2015 in holds for offensive linemen?
Donovan Smith.
Oh yeah.
He's got like what, fucking 31 or 32?
I think he's got like 50 something since 2015.
I thought it was 30 something.
I think it's a little bit higher, but I know you're a big Donovan Smith mark, so it's all good. 813-90 Bubba. 813-90 BUBBA.
It's a bold statement. You know why? Because 2020 and 2021, he was average. Did I say he was an all-pro? Did I say he was good at any point?
I'm not sure. I don't
When
remember.
you are an average offensive lineman surrounded by 4 good or better offensive linemen, you're going to look a little bit better than you are, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a Kenyatta Walker.
Sure. But it's just, I do think giving him the bag was a mistake. They probably could have found another left tackle by now through the draft or other means. They've had the resources to trade.
Isn't he one of the highest paid offensive linemen on our team? I think he is the number one, isn't he?
He's the highest paid on the team, but I think in the league he's like top 10.
Yeah, well, he deserves to be in the top
7.
30, in my opinion. I'm trying to see it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I don't like the guy. I voice who I don't like.
It's actually really funny. So when we were down, did he have 2 penalties on that final drive? Because when we were walking down,
I think the last, he had one on that one drive.
He had one that took the touchdown away, but I thought he had another one.
He had
that
one
drive or the drive before.
No, it was the drive before he had one.
So the drive before, we had gotten down there, and I was getting into my area to stand. I was right in front of the pirate ship. Like, I was standing up there with a group of friends, and so I'm walking by, and that's when they throw the flag, and it's how do they say it? Hold on. False start. On the offense, number 76, first down, or repeat first down. Lost 5 yards, repeat first down, whatever. And I walked over. There's a crowd of people standing there against the railing on the left, and I looked over, and I'm just like, false start, number 76. I started clapping it up and everything.
Yeah, because you know why? He sucks.
Because it's the same old. I mean, it's the problem is that he could fucking get away with it, not sucking, but he could get away with these calls if they were not at the most important times of the game.
Oh, you mean the holding call?
Like the holding call.
He didn't need to hold.
Well, even the call against Cleveland was a drive killer. He's setting us up 3rd and 15.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's doing that more than anyone else on the team, and it has been a pattern. I thought he was average, and he cleaned it up a little bit 2021, but it has been a pattern. It always has been. And he's just sloppy. Like, he's not.
He's got sloppy tits, sloppy body, sloppy everything.
Damn.
Sloppy pass blocking.
Damn. I remember there was a point
blocking.
in 2019 where we were talking about on the podcast. I don't even remember what week it was. But we were like, man, if I'm Donovan Smith, I wouldn't even fucking show up to the game next week. Like,
I think that one he had like 6 or 7 flags.
It was.
He had a shit ton. It was like back to back on one of them, and then like later on, it was like another back to back one. It was bad. Speaking of,
it's bad, but this hasn't been the worst. That's kind of that's the worst part is that they decided to pay the guy too.
Speaking of, at this point, just awful. The Jets, right? I mean, the Jets were looking pretty good. They're still 7-5. I know. I'm pretty sure you like Matt White.
Matt White?
Or whatever the fuck.
I don't know who Matt White is.
Mike White.
I think, honestly, I'm not even such a big fan of Mike White. I do like that he went to USF, but.
And left because he couldn't handle it.
I think it's even funnier that just the heel turn for Zach Wilson.
Everyone loved him in New York.
The way he has been alienated by this team in a matter of 3.5 months. I mean, listen, if you refuse to take accountability and you basically, throw your defense under the bus, you kind of deserve it.
Is he the backup?
He's not. He doesn't even dress for games anymore.
Oh, he wasn't dressed last week?
No, they don't even dress him. He just sits on the bench in his clothes and looks dejected the whole game because nobody fucking talks to him. They'll show highlights of like the 2 quarterbacks and the coach looking at the tablet, and he's just off to the side, totally uninterested.
So how long do you think he got? You think they cut him? And think they try to trade him? Get him?
They'll probably try and trade him at the end of the year. Realistically, if it's New York, I mean, I
I mean, do you really see Mike White being the future?
No, fuck no.
And obviously Joe Flacco
they're probably going to try and make a play on a quarterback. I mean, I don't know what kind of draft pick they're going to have, but I assume they still have a stockpile of good, decent picks with a good quarterback class coming up.
I mean, hopefully, I mean, they'll just put themselves back if they reach for like an AR. I feel like if they go for an AR, they'll go back to another Zach Wilson.
Speaking of AR, I know this is the Lummy Sports Show. I'm sorry, the Lummy NFL Show. But I really thought another year of Florida would have done him wonders. Another year of fucking anywhere would have done him a huge favor.
Listen, Dick, we're not talking about just the. I mean, I'm going to the college football to end it because I was going to promote our college football pick 'em toward
Jesus
the end.
Christ. We'll circle back to Anthony Richardson, but in the meantime,
no, I agree with you. I saw your tweet. I 100% agree with you. But I was just saying because he's obviously, the Jets are 7-5. I mean, Matt White, whatever the fuck his name is, he looks serviceable. The Jets defense is actually really good, but they're playing in a really tough division. The Bills and the Dolphins. I think. I don't see the Jets making the playoffs. I think they maybe could.
I don't know because again, it's
they're at Buffalo this week. That's gonna be tough, especially in Buffalo.
It's gonna be a loss.
And then they go to the red hot.
The fucking Detroit Lions.
That's right, the Detroit Lions. I mean, they're playing. Man, their offense looks amazing.
How about that fucking pick last week?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, buddy, that Jacksonville pick.
And then they play at home against Jacksonville. I mean, that should be for what the Jets are being. I mean, they probably be somewhat close, but I think they take care of it. They go out to Seattle, which I think is a loss. Seattle's playing pretty well too. And going out to Seattle, that stadium will be rocking. I think Seattle will be hunting for a playoff. And then at Miami. That's going to be another tough one.
Division games are tough. I think those division games are really what's going to kick them out. Like, I think when you lose to Buffalo and you lose to Miami and you go to 7 losses on the year.
Yeah, even though I don't think they have. Listen, like, back a while ago, Detroit would have been. You know what? They'll score 48 points and the Detroit will score 45. Not anymore.
Right.
Detroit's looking good.
It's also one of those things too, where like when you do have a Mike White. How far is he going to take your offense? How consistent is he going to be? You're not going to fucking score 40-plus points every single week.
No.
And they do have a good defense, but, I mean, even with, I know it's the NFC, but even with teams like the Bucs, like, that's only going to get you so far if your offense can't do very much.
No, not at all.
And, yeah, I think with the state the AFC is in, since it is, every team is just so good over there, it's like, it's hard to say that they're going to compete into the playoffs. I also think between the other games that they have, because who the fuck else did they have? They had Buffalo, Jacksonville, Detroit, and then there was one more game that wasn't.
The Dolphins were at home.
They had
one Seattle.
I think one of those. I think one of those 3 games could be kind of a trap game. Like Seattle could be a close game. But between Detroit and Jacksonville,
I think they got. Yeah, I mean,
I hate to discredit them this time of year because they have been winning games, but like they're still the fucking Jets and they don't have a quarterback right now.
Correct. I mean, there's a lot of hype. I mean, I think they probably finish around, let's see, 8 and 9.
That's what I think.
8 and 9.
I mean, it could be 9 and 8. It'd be nice to see them finish with a positive record. Kind of further put them out of the quarterback sweepstakes this year. Maybe force them to trade.
Or try to sign someone.
Sure. You know what I mean? Some other teams are going to be looking for quarterbacks.
So I mean, speaking of who this could be a big stretch here, but looking at the schedule, who could sneak into the playoffs?
They could. The Jets could.
No.
Oh shit! Are you crunching the numbers up
I'm
there?
crunching the numbers. I clicked on it. I knew they were on a win streak. I started crunching the numbers.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You picking it up there, big boy? You picking it up? I mean, the Minnesota
you
game.
About the Lions.
I mean, look, they're playing they're playing a home against Minnesota. The first game at Minnesota was 28-24. I mean,
you think fucking Kirk Cousins is going to walk into Detroit and walk out the same way?
No, that's the whole thing. I mean, that right there could be a trap game. Detroit, Detroit could beat Minnesota. I mean, it was a 4-point game earlier in the season. And I mean, look, Buffalo was 28-25. November 24th. I think the Lions have a chance against Minnesota. Then they go to New York. I mean, That's a 50-50 flop right there. Carolina's
in shambles.
You know what I mean? The Lions handle Carolina. So right now they're 2-1. That puts them at 7-8. Then home against the Bears.
Those division games are always tough. I'm always gonna say this.
It's gonna be a split. It's gonna be a split with Chicago and Green Bay, and they could sneak into the playoffs, right?
I saw you shaking the mouse. I know how excited you are.
They are. They could sneak into the playoffs. I mean, look, that division is not looking too good. You saw my shaking. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, if you're looking at it, because I like Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Dan, I think you're a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of gave up on Goff. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback ever. I like Swift. I like Williams. I've watched some of their games. Obviously, they're high-scoring games, so they're always on red zone.
Listen, see, a couple things that you need to understand about Detroit is that hold on, I'm losing it.
I thought you were about to say we're the Steel City.
These fans come in the stadium and they fucking douse themselves in gasoline and light themselves on fire to heat this place up. You understand?
They're more rugged than Buffalo.
The combination of that dedication and a couple of fucking dogs in your locker room, that's going to take you all the way. All right? Now, they're not going to pick us every week. All right? They are not going to pick us every single week, but we're going to get it done. And if there's one thing about the Detroit Lions is they're going to figure that shit out.
Listen, I totally agree with you. You guys figured out your offense, defense come around. I'm actually surprised by this number. It's only a -9 differential between the points for and points against, which I'm pretty surprised by. But you're 5-7, and the Vikings, in the NFC North. I mean, they could sneak into the playoffs.
We could.
I mean, we're talking about playoffs right now. Playoffs.
Fucking Jim Mora.
Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs?
With this team?
I mean,
playoffs.
They could go on a hot streak. I mean, they could either. They right there. That Lions-Packers game could be probably one of the most important games in the NFC North, and one of the most important games the Lions have played in a long time. Because it could even come down to they beat the Packers to make it in, or the Packers beat them to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, no shit.
And I mean, how much would fucking Aaron Rodgers hate that?
I mean, the NFC is it's just such a slaughter this year that you really can't count that much out. I know it's kind of been a lot of shitty football, especially with the Bucs, but I hate to say it makes the season more fun because watching it doesn't. You know what I mean? I would much rather the Bucs be blowing everybody the fuck out like they were.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, I think it does kind of challenge you to look through with a little bit more of a critical lens at what's going on with your team. And luckily for Tampa Bay, I mean, the rest of the NFC is just not good.
I mean, it's pretty bad that they still have on ESPN the NFC playoff seeding.
It's crazy that the Bucs are,
and the Bears are still even listed on it.
Yeah, I mean, with a 3-10 record, they are still playoff eligible.
Well, they eliminated them, but I think they got lazy and didn't take it up. But hold on,
they ranked them 99.
But hold on, the Rams at 3-9 are still there. The Saints, the Panthers, Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, the Lions right now are the 9th seed.
Looky there, pal.
That's right.
That 8th seed. That's the thing is that 8th seed is going to guarantee every year there's going to be some shit team.
And the Falcons,
not Detroit.
And the Falcons hold the tiebreaker over Green Bay based on strength of schedule.
What are the Falcons' record?
5-8. 8-6-3.
Just curious, guys. You think after this year, if they cut Rodgers, anybody will really pick him up, or you think he's going to end up like a Cam Newton floating around as a back string? I'm not saying he's not good. I just don't know what they're going to do with him.
Oh, they're not going to cut him. Yeah, they can't cut him with his contract.
He'll be back next year 100%.
So you think they're going to give him kind of? I know it's Boise, my bad, but you think they're going to try to give him some more receivers to help him out, or I mean, doesn't he have enough with the 2 running backs and stuff like that to make him look good, or? Do you think it's more of an offensive issue, like the offensive line? Like, what's the deal?
I mean, right now, look, if they were going to get him more wide, I think they would have already done it. I think they believe in the wide receivers that they have right now. I think they're probably going to play that out another year. Maybe they're going to try to give Aaron Rodgers, like maybe a veteran wide receiver that comes available. It just doesn't seem that way. They haven't really done that. I mean, realistically, they're not going to cut Rodgers. The only way that they could get rid of Rodgers is if he retires, or they trade him and have a team even try to pay some of his salary. There's no way the Packers are going to have $150 million or whatever it is, of dead cap that they can't do it. I mean, I'm sure they could restructure it and pay him 25 years or some shit like that, but there's no way.
Well, I'll let you go because I know it's noisy, but how happy you think Davante Adams is about his move? He's in Vegas, it's way better temperature, and he's killing it. So, he's probably happy.
Oh, and his stats are absolutely, I mean, they're awesome. I mean, realistically, people are saying we're Davante Adams, but they showed his stats. Realistically, I feel like if Derek Carr could, he would just throw the ball 1,000 times. I think that's the only person he would throw to. I mean, it's the rest of the team that isn't actually stepping up. Davante Adams, I believe this was before the game last week, had 9 touchdowns. I think he was already over 1,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure he hit it over in this game. The Raiders have been playing really well. Yeah, he's got 1,176 yards. Let's see, 1,176 yards. Where's he at? 12 touchdowns. Yeah, 12 touchdowns. I mean, realistically, he's having a hell of a year. So people are like, well, you're not hearing much about, the Derek Carr, Davante Adams. He's living in Vegas. They're 5-7. Raiders haven't played well in the beginning of it, but he's having, what do you got? The 12 games played, so he's got, 5 games left? I mean, the way they're throwing to him, I mean, he could probably have about 1,600, 1,700 yards and probably 15, 16 touchdowns. Now, if he's on Green Bay's looking really good right now.
How about Christian Watson, the run he's been on these past couple
years? I mean, he's been playing well.
I think he still might have more touchdowns than anyone else since that stretch of where he really started whooping ass.
I think he got 6, right? 6 in
3 games or something like that.
But I mean, Davante Adams is, and you're not really hearing much about him, is having a hell of a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just don't hear about those guys when they're on losing football teams,
Yeah, but I mean, you're still hearing about the Packers and stuff like that. I mean, maybe it's because, Bubba, talks about it a lot more and then we follow it.
Right. But you're not seeing him. You're just not seeing his highlights posted on ESPN. You're not seeing, at least I'm not seeing a lot of that stuff this year, but I'm convinced 100% it's just because he's playing in Vegas.
No, it is.
It's like, everybody. I'm not going to say people overrate Mike Evans because he's literally one of my favorite receivers of all time by this point. But it is one of those things where everybody finally gave him the respect he deserved once he started playing with Tom Brady. You remember back when the Bucs would have good receivers
and
or just good players on on a shitty team. They never get the recognition they deserved. It happened to Levante David for 10 years.
Yeah, it happened to Paul Gruber for 12 years, too, or 10 years, however long he fucking played here. He was probably the best left tackle, and he was for the Bucs, obviously the best left tackle, but he was one of the best left tackles in the game.
Nobody talked about it.
Well, yeah, because, one, it's an offensive lineman, and 2, it's because it's an offensive lineman. But, yeah, I mean, I got switched over to the Raiders when Track Meet was talking about the Packers and how Davante Adams is feeling. They're playing at the Rams this week. I mean, they could easily beat the Raiders. I mean, the Rams could lose to the Raiders. They go to New England. I'm sorry, they play home against New England. That's going to be tough. Then they play at Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Kansas City. I don't know. That last 3-game stretch, that's 4-game stretch.
That is
pretty tough right there.
They already lost to Kansas City this year. I hate to say
30-29 though.
I hate to say they're due for a win, but they're probably going to win that January 3rd. Especially it's the last week of the year. Kansas City probably going to have the 1 seed shored up by then. I mean, I think either they sit Mahomes or
this is nuts. They're fucking. Did you see their scores on their schedule besides the New Orleans game? 24-19, 29-23 overtime, 24-22. They win. I'm just going after losses. 30-29 against KC. Mm-hmm. They got blown out. I don't know how the fuck they got blown out at New Orleans. 27-20 to Jacksonville. 25-20 Indy. I mean, they played a lot of close games.
They're playing close games. It's critical stuff, I guess. They got Josh McDaniels next year.
Well, they can't afford him.
I'm still not convinced. that they're going to hang on to Derek Carr? Like, realistically, I just don't know.
Derek Carr becomes available. You're an NFL GM, and let's say you're the NFL GM for the Bucs. If Tom Brady, are you signing Derek Carr?
Yeah. Yeah, if Brady retires, 100% I'll get Derek Carr.
But I don't see the Raiders because Devontae Adams, I think, would throw a hissy fit. And I don't blame him. I don't think Derek Carr. What's he going to do? He'll sit out or demand a trade. I mean, think about it. He kind of did it in Green Bay.
No, you're right. You are right. He did sign for the quarterback.
Yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I think that saves Derek Carr. But
I think when you bring in Devontae Adams, you cater to both of those guys.
Yeah, but Derek Carr's not having that bad of a year. Yeah, their record's not that great.
He hasn't.
He's 2,980 yards, so he's about to have 3,000 yards.
20 touchdowns.
20 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah, not bad at all.
No, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a lot better than some other teams that maybe given their quarterback way too much money to start the year. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Say that last part again. I'm sorry.
That gave him before seeing him throw the ball. That gave him a ton of money.
Oh yeah, the Browns.
No, or because he's had only one game. There's another team out there that gave a lot of money, and he sucks, and the team sucks. And there's been a lot of news.
I'm sorry. Yes, Jesus, fuck. Let's talk.
No,
about
not
the Broncos.
Jesus. Not Jesus.
Let's talk about the Broncos and Mr. Unlimited.
Yes, there you go. The Broncos.
Mr. Unlimited.
I mean, how much hype was, he rolls in with his brand new Bronco or some shit.
I was sold.
You were sold. He wore the old school Broncos jersey.
Well, listen,
That's right.
And it was his own. And it was his own jersey too. Here's the thing: is that with Russell Wilson being the biggest cornball on the face of the planet, I'm not afraid to admit that, but I did think that he would have done a little bit better for Denver and the franchise. I just. Fuck, dude.
I know. Well, it's weird. I clicked on the Broncos.
Just the steady decline in favor that he has had. Kind of like Zach Wilson and the Jets. They just don't like him in Denver. They just don't. His teammates just don't like him. Guys in the locker room don't listen to him. They don't want to play for him. He's just such a douche.
He is. I mean, I guess he had that swagger. I mean, they did start 2-1. Well,
it's like he's stuck in 2014. I don't know how to explain it.
Maybe it's his woman. Maybe it's his wife, Sierra or whatever her name is. Maybe they just built this big confidence behind him. He's got a big O. What?
Sorry, it's one of her songs.
Oh, I have no idea what she sings.
Automatic.
I mean, we might as well talk about this for 10 seconds.
Hypnotic.
But I went on the Broncos.
Fresh.
And it says Aaron Judge joins biggest active contract. And as everyone has been seeing, and as told me, Aaron Judge signed a 9-year, $900 million contract. Now, I did see that, and I did have to make sure that I, checked Rhett's facts. I mean, $900 million over 9 years.
It was a pretty instant fact check. I checked it myself. Don't let Lummy sit here and fucking lie to you. As it rolled out of my mouth, I knew it was incorrect.
I'm like, I don't think that's right, Rhett. But $100 million a year, okay.
As I said, 9-year, 900. I was like, oh, that's not right.
But I mean, I was kind of looking, and I'm like, okay, biggest contracts, Aaron Judge 9-year, 360, which he's not even I guess Mike Trout is at 12 years. So I'm going down here. NFL, you got Deshaun Watson coming. Russell Wilson, 5 years, $161 million.
They have got him shored up, buddy. So not only is he going to be here this year, but probably next year and more than likely a third year. Beyond that, I don't know what their options are, but I know for sure they don't fucking have anything.
You don't think they have anything in the hopper?
Who are they going to trade him to? I mean, who's really going to look at that situation and say, you know what? That's a fucking guy I want on my team. That's a guy that I want to pay a bunch of money for and I want to trade for and I want to give up resources to acquire.
So you don't think they're ready to pull the trigger and go to Brett Rippon, son of Washington football team quarterback Mark Rippon?
Not just yet. Not just yet.
I mean, their quarterback and Jared.
They're close.
Guantanamo.
They're close. How far are they from missing the playoffs?
Well, they're 3-9 currently, fourth in the AFC.
West.
Sorry, yeah. Fourth.
That's the thing is that I thought they were. don't want to say I thought they were going to compete for that division because that's not quite what I thought. But I thought
so.
they would. I thought they would. Second, third place finish for sure.
Well, I mean, is it their offensive line or is it just Russell Wilson is just not that mobile of a quarterback? I mean, 37 sacks, only 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect cocktail of suck, like it is in Tampa. A lot of problems on the offense, and then you cap it off with offensive line doesn't want to play for him. Receivers don't want to reach out and make a catch for him. Like that's on him. That's he's even more of a prick than Aaron Rodgers is.
And Zach Wilson? Who's more of a prick?
It's close because Denver, Russ is never on purpose, as far as I know of, throwing his teammates under the bus. It's hard to excuse that.
I mean,
he hasn't lost his job yet. Zach Wilson lost his job.
Well, I mean, another prick quarterback that's in the AFC is Kyle Murray.
Kyler Murray?
Maybe
He's
they
in
could,
the NFC.
Maybe, what was it? Mark Jones said maybe that Kyler and Russell Wilson can flip-flop. They have about the same contracts.
Yeah, probably not.
Russell Wilson goes suck down in Arizona, and Kyle Murray's not having a bad year. But I guess he's just a prick, right? That's what they say. And he doesn't study.
There's more and more people that are coming out and confirming that he is a little bit. Like, did you see what Patrick Peterson said?
No.
Well, Patrick Peterson, who I think plays in Minnesota right now,
who played for the Cardinals for a very long time.
For a very long time, said, "Man, nobody cares more about Kyler than Kyler."
I'm looking at his stats, man. Jeez, man, these highest paid, some of these highest paid quarterbacks
kind of fucking suck.
2,300 yards, 14 TDs, and 7 picks.
I mean, it's not it's not winning them football games, that's for sure. Especially throwing the hissy fit that he did last year to demand that big expensive contract. Like it's hard to get mad at guys getting paid, but you gotta perform up to the price of your contract.
And the similarities between Denver and Arizona, the quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson probably doesn't play as much video games as Kyler Murray does.
Do you think he prepares as much or more?
Russ?
Yes.
Probably more. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been a good quarterback. He knows how to do it. It just probably doesn't work the same. But Kyler hasn't won shit.
Ashley sent me a text message that said there's a trend on TikTok: Wilson TDs versus their bathrooms.
Excuse me?
So it's a TikTok thing, I guess. What has more, like Russell Wilson's house, like bathrooms, or his TDs currently?
Bathrooms for sure.
Yeah, it's 9 to 12 currently.
Love that.
That's pretty bad. I mean, at least Kyler Murray has 14, but 7 picks. I don't know. I mean, are you thinking right now? What they're saying too in chat is that Arizona is not happy with Kyler Murray. I mean, I don't blame a 5-year, $189 million. Actually, if you look at this right here, the top 3, I guess you could say the top 4 paid quarterbacks, and I know Deshaun Watson, he's only played 1 game, but if you look at their team records, they all have losing records.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, number 1, 5 years, $230 million, 100% of his total contract is guaranteed.
I'm not gonna say an absolute on Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's a scumbag in his own right.
Oh, I'm just saying the current, and that's what I said. You can give an asterisk next to Deshaun Watson.
Right. He's played,
but he's
game.
still this team is trash, and he wasn't there before, so you don't really know. How he's going to turn out in his 1 game. He did not look that good, which is normal because it's rusty. I totally get it.
Well, it's also funny because Cleveland is trash, but they have a good roster.
Yeah.
And you kind of beg the question, if they had a different quarterback at the beginning of the year, would they win this much more games? I mean, you can sit around and talk hypotheticals all day if you so choose. But we could get philosophical.
Look, they beat the Bucks
if you so choose. I know they fucking did,
and they're not that. They're 5-7 right now.
You know who that's on? That's on the Bucks. It's not on anyone else.
Yep, and they're 5-7. So I mean, Jacoby Brissett's he's a lifelong going to be backup. But if you look at where the fuck did I? All right, John Watson would give him an asterisk. So then you got Kyler Murray, 5 years, $189 million, 82.2% of his contract is guaranteed. They're 3-7 and long out of the playoff race. Russell Wilson, 5 years, $161 million. Broncos have a losing record. Aaron Rodgers, 3 years, $150 million, 100% guarantee. They're currently they're 5-8. Then you got Josh Allen, and it's the Bills. So, I mean, you kind of see that, which is kind of nuts. That, you know, but it was a big spending spree last year for these quarterbacks.
I mean, the market's changing, not just quarterbacks, just in every position. You know, they say the cap's going to go up again next year, and I'm sure with the next collective bargaining agreement, they'll figure out a way to get it up even further. Like, before you know it, it might not look like NBA money, but it's going to be some big-ass contracts.
Oh, kind of like baseball money, too, though.
Yeah.
Baseball's got a lot of big contracts.
And I'm not against it by no means. Everything's changing. Inflation happens. Shit gets more expensive. And if everyone else is getting paid more money, then football players should be getting paid that same amount of money, I think.
I think it will correct itself, though. I think it's going to correct itself with these big contracts and with the salary cap. That's one difference, too.
I think so.
And I know they can play around it and all that other shit.
Is it going to correct itself by averaging out, or is it going to correct itself by everyone just literally the market price of everything going up? Because when you, like, let's face it, when you're signing, you know, even a fucking wide receiver now, if you're signing the best wide receiver in the NFL, you're pushing $30 million a year. And 10 years ago, what was the number one wide receiver in the NFL getting paid? At most 9, 10, 11, 12?
10 to 15.
Yeah, like, I don't know if there's going to come a day where...
No, I think what's going to happen is that these contracts are going to almost stop. Like, they were doing a little bit, and I know they're kind of getting back to it again in the MLB. But in the beginning, after the strike, and they just started throwing these huge 10-year or, you know, $150 million deal, 10 year, $300 million. It was always a 10-year because in the baseball's guarantee that they were just going to like do a Bobby Bonilla on it. And it kind of, you started looking, a lot of the teams started getting poorer. Robinson Cano, the Texas Rangers, you know, then they had those subpar years, and then they go, well, we're going to now work it to where we're just going to bring up minor league guys. We're going to build a team. We're not going to just go out and just try to pay for superstars. Yankees did it for a while. The Red Sox were doing it. You know, everyone started doing it that way. It kind of brings it down a little bit. Yeah, you're still going to have your Mike Trouts and, you know, obviously.
And I mean, that comes with this.
Name?
That's a case-by-case basis.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, when you've got fucking generational athletes, that's one thing because those guys, I'm not going to say they deserve the money, but it's
not going to be every position now.
When you're the best of the rest, they fucking pay him whatever he wants. Yeah. But it is one of those things where, like, when the average contract in the NFL, you know, let's say there's a guy on the vet minimum making $500,000 a year, and the number one top paid quarterback is making $55 million a year. It's just like, where's the disconnect here? You know?
So it's going to be kind of like this. Mark Jones asked, where do you pay Geno Smith? Where do you pay Jones? Well, what's going to happen is, in my opinion,
are you paying Geno Smith like $22 million?
No, but that's the thing. This is what I'm saying is, if he goes to Seattle and says, I want to be in the top 5 quarterbacks, like Deshaun Watson, blah, 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 right? And those are all like being guaranteed now. It's almost like how the Marlins fucked the Rays with their stadium deal. They got 100% paid by the state.
Right.
The Marlins sucked. They traded it. Everyone saw it's a greedy motherfucker, and they're like, we're never paying for a fucking stadium again. Fuck that.
Yep.
That Kyler Murray, all these guys, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, well, they're stuck with him for 2-3 years unless they can trade it in some other team. Well, if Geno Smith goes, oh, I want to be paid the same. And Seattle goes, go fuck yourself. How about that? What team, you know, there may be a team, but if they're already locked up with these 2, 3, 4 other quarterbacks or 5 quarterbacks, you know what I mean? And then you got these other teams that can't afford it. They're going to say, well, we can't pay you. So his contract's going to come down a little bit. You know, not every fucking team can have a quarterback that's in the top 5 and they just keep doubling themselves.
You're right.
And doubling and doubling and doubling.
You're right. But you also do get situations where, just like you mentioned, I know between, you know, different teams, it's different, but the fucking Raiders, if they wanted to fire Josh McDaniels right now, they can't afford to do it.
Exactly.
They cannot afford to stay afloat after giving Devontae Adams that fat-ass contract. Like, it's just not sustainable. It's not possible. And it not saying it should be possible.
Yeah, they're in Vegas. They built a brand new stadium.
There should not be a reason a team can cease to function because of the amount of money they leverage towards one player. Like, that's just...
Well, it's the Packers.
Right.
Packers had that problem with Rodgers and injured left tackle or whatever. Oh, fuck.
Bakhtiari.
Thank you. Exactly. 813-90 Bubba. Let's jump over to...
Are we rolling till 1 or 1:30 today, you think?
I don't know, probably 1, 110, 115.
Okay. All right, cool.
Let's jump over to college football.
Let's do it.
College bowl games are coming up. They've already said we're going to do a college football pick'em. It's on ESPN I posted it on my Twitter, Rhett. What do you think the best way to get it out if anyone wants to play against us? It's going to be against the spread. It's on ESPN.
If you are on Twitter, go follow Lummy. I know you posted the link there.
Yeah, Lumix BTLS. It's on there. I can
do
see
you
maybe
have access to the link from the computer you're on right now? Because you could also post it in the live chat for anybody watching.
I do not, because I'm not logged into this computer.
I'm also not logged in.
I'm not going to touch this computer. It's logged into the Bubba account. So I'm going to just leave that be.
Bubba has an ESPN account?
No. Well, yeah, actually, I think he might. Or it's just logged in under his email, and it's going to be a Gmail email or something, or AOL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck with it.
That's all
right. We have time. Let's see, 15th. Yeah, it's going to be close, though. Just check out my Twitter if you have it. Rhett, you have Twitter, too, if you want to post it on yours. Do you have Facebook?
Yeah.
Or Instagram?
I do have Instagram.
Or you know what? After this, maybe we can post it into the comments. I know a lot of people have asked me to join a college pick'em, or maybe I can ask Bubba and see if he can post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll
just throw it out there. I don't know.
Just go follow the show. I mean, you should be following us everywhere, anyways.
Yeah, of course.
Instagram, TikTok, even.
But we'll put that up if you want to play. It's going to be all the bowl games in the 4-7-3-2.
Hey, Lummy, what's going on?
How's it going, Alan?
Hello?
Alan? 732? Yeah, I'm here.
Lummy.
Alan.
Hey, so what you guys were just talking about, the reason the Raiders have
Alan, not to interrupt. Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me, Rhett?
Are you there?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Well, yeah.
Oh, so when they signed, the reason that the Raiders had to trade Khalil Mack years ago was that they didn't to put in escrow.
Oh.
So when you sign a guy the NFLPA, it's kind of like the same way the Screen Actors Guild works, like when we do movies and stuff. You actually have to put a percentage of the payroll for all of the actors and everything, and the NFLPA requires them to do the same thing with these guaranteed contracts. So Mark Davis, when they were still in Oakland, did not have the money to guarantee that contract, to put into escrow, to just sit there. So they make sure that it's there for the player when you sign him to that deal.
Oh.
Does that make any sense?
No, it does. It does. I mean, yeah, and look, the Raiders have spent a lot of money from their stadium to, I don't think I was 100% paid for, but yeah, it makes sense that Mark Davis, because I think he's one of the poorest owners. I mean, you can't count the Packers.
That's the same reason why here, I'm not a Cincinnati fan, but they finally,
built your indoor facility
rights to Paycor, because they've got to pay all these guys coming up. Because Mike Brown doesn't have the money either.
And you guys just built a new indoor facility or practice facility.
Well, I would just call it a bubble. But don't say you guys. I'm a 49er fan, so it'll be a good game this weekend with us and you guys.
Yeah, fuck the 49ers. But, okay, it's a bubble. It's better than playing at the University of Cincinnati, waiting for the women's lacrosse team to get off the field so you could go practice and walk across the field to go to your practice facility or walk across the street.
Is there. But tell you guys that you could look it up a little bit about how they work that. But that's the big thing with those guaranteed contracts is that the owner has to put that money in escrow. If you guarantee $90 million or $139 million or whatever, that money is out of your wallet into a separate account until it comes due. And then, like with a movie, 30 days after principal photography finishes, you submit a thing to the union, and then they give you that money that they held back plus interest. Yep. But you have to almost pay it twice.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys, have a good one.
You too, Alan. Thank you.
See you.
All right.
We should have just fucked with him and didn't say anything.
That's true.
Just should have sat there.
Yeah. Hello,
Alan.
But yeah, no. So we're gonna try to get that link up. If you guys want to join us, I'll send it to Brian too. It's gonna be against the spread. A lot of good bowl games. Did you take a look at the Final Four and what do you think of that?
I did. Actually, you're pulling that up. I'm about to put the link.
I'm just pulling up the playoffs.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm pretty sure this YouTube is signed into somebody. So
Really?
I don't know who. Maybe if a Dr. Dan Diaco drops the
I don't
fantasy.
think Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan's even
YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see.
Because he's usually never here for the after show. If anything, it may be from Brian.
You're Lummox BTLS on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So head over to Lummox BTLS on Twitter, or click the link that I'm about to drop into chat.
If you want to join in.
Copy link address, and then I'm gonna drag it over to this window right here. Sorry. This is the content people sign up for.
It is.
You are going to need a password, so you're going to have an account.
Oh, yeah. The password, if it does ask, it's BRN.
Okay, word.
It's just BRN.
But yeah, you're going to need an
reason.
ESPN account to do the pick'em.
Because it's a private league.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have put that on my thing. I totally forgot. Usually just, put it out there. It's BRN. I'm going to delete my post and repost it with the password. I'm so sorry, everyone.
You're talking about on Twitter?
Yeah. I'll probably just repost it and put password BRN.
Yeah, just post it again.
So the playoffs are Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. Obviously, TCU
If you click
lost.
that invite link, you don't need a password because it didn't ask me one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it didn't ask me
okay.
for
So
one.
it must be just direct then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you do get asked for a password, it's BRN. Oh, fuck. We got one call here in the playoffs. TCU lost, and they still made number 3. Ohio State went over Alabama. Do you think that's right? You like the top 4?
Yeah, I do. I think it's probably going to come down to Georgia, Michigan.
Really? Michigan, huh? Oh, I guess
I think
Michigan beats TCU.
Yeah, and I think Georgia just whoops Ohio State.
You don't think TCU is going to bring anything to Michigan?
It could be a close game, but I really think they could. I really think they could run away with it.
641.
Hey, what's up, Lummy?
Oh, what's up,
man?
Brandon?
Oh, not much. Hey, Lummy, I just posted that. Posted that link into the YouTube chat.
Oh, did you?
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
I don't see it, but thank you.
I don't see it. I got it. I just now posted it.
It's under. Yeah, I posted it like 30 seconds ago.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Have you been edging?
Yeah. Yep.
We'll leave it
I'm
at
a
that.
little sick right now, but I'll be 100%, and I'll be ready to go.
I'm sure you will be. Hulk up, kid, and just maybe even when you're sick, just keep edging.
Well, yeah, as long as my hands aren't broke, I can still masturbate.
Yeah, exactly. Or just have your mom put the penis pump on it, and you can just keep it going.
Did you ever get the pump? What was the update on that?
Haven't got it yet.
You got to get the pump, dude.
Nah, your mom got it. She's just not giving it to you
I
yet.
go to the gym. I get the pump.
Oh,
pumps like coming
did
6
you guys
times.
send it off already?
I think so. I think Blitz did, but obviously call in maybe tomorrow and ask Bubba and Blitz. I don't want to get too deep into it.
Okay.
For the main show.
Yeah. All right, I'll call in tomorrow.
All right, man. See you, Brandon.
See you guys later. Bye.
See you, pimp. I forgot to ask him his pick for the Iowa game this week because I don't think I picked Iowa.
This week? Or when the bowl start?
The bowl, sorry.
When the fuck? But you sent me that one. I was like, that's going to be a shitty game.
I know. There were a couple.
There was
BYU,
a couple
SMU was tough to pick. So I feel like those are both pretty even schools. I thought Miami of Ohio, UAB, I thought about for a minute, but UAB's favored by a lot.
Now, you went through it, and maybe next week we can kind of go through our picks.
Tennessee Clemson seems like probably the best game of the bunch.
Well, I was saying that we could pick our favorite that we're looking to, and also maybe we do our biggest underdog win.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that.
You
want to do that? You want to do that next week with Brian?
Yeah. Because then we're picking against a spread,
and
then maybe we can also pick our just our biggest lock besides our biggest update or upset. 813. Hey.
Oh, Lum, it's Hootie.
Oh, hey, Hootie.
Oh, hey, Hootie.
How's it going, man? Sorry, I saw your text. I'm headed back from Treasure Island. My fucking phone fell down in between my truck seat for like an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Stayed there for 2 days.
So what do you guys got going on the sports show? What's
Oh, you haven't listened?
What's the picks for this week?
Oh, the picks.
We haven't done that yet because we're about to wrap up, but we haven't done the picks for the NFL yet. Hello?
Jamar Chase
Did you
is
drop
back.
your fucking thing down again?
Dallas Goedert is going to be back week 15.
Who?
I mean, I can, I'm driving, but I can give you some updates, Adam Schefter style.
Well, we do. Hello.
Hello.
We do have the internet here. Yeah, we got some updates on some stuff, but we started a little early today, Hootie, and we're about wrapping it up now.
At 1 o'clock.
Well, we started at 11:35.
Okay. No, that's cool, man. That sounds good.
Hey, we appreciate you calling in.
You know what? Hey, you know what, Hootie?
Listener, first time caller.
Hootie, you know what, Hootie? Call back next week when we start at 12 with Brian. And you know what, Hootie? Why don't you? One, you should join our college football pick'em league. No, also, you should do is call in, and we would like to hear your 3 picks. All right, Hootie?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bart and seeing you guys.
Yeah. Answer your text message every once in a while, and maybe we can see each other.
No,
sooner.
I know.
It's all good, Hootie.
We're on different timetables, because you have to go to bed early, and you got Walker. So I was going to text you last night.
I know. I'm sorry. That 11:30 text was a little early for you. I don't even see where the fuck Iowa plays. But Hootie, call back next week.
All right, man.
Everyone in chat's looking forward to it.
We're all going to the playoffs together next week. Playoffs together. Set.
What? Playoffs together?
Yeah.
All right,
man.
Hootie. All right. What the fuck's he talking about, playoffs together? What
That
playoffs are we
sound-
fucking talking about?
I don't know. Maybe he's on the alcohol pills.
Where the fuck is Iowa? I can't find him on this goddamn fucking website. Who are they playing?
They're playing I think it's Kentucky.
They are, but oh goddamn, Iowa. Okay, that didn't come up. Control F, Iowa. There. The Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl, Iowa versus Kentucky. Okay, well, yeah, that's. I think that game all depends on if the Kentucky quarterback is going to play, which I don't think he is, because most of the people
Did he declare?
Yeah.
If he declare, yeah.
USC
doesn't have Caleb Williams, or they won't have him, right?
No, and a lot of people went in the transfer portal.
Did you see,
this game's going to be good too, though. Alabama and Kansas State.
Yeah, I think it'll be more competitive than people think. Did you see? You see Owen McCown?
No.
Colorado quarterback. Less than 24 hours after Deion said, "Hey, I'm bringing my luggage," and it's Louis. He jumped in the portal.
I'm sure there's a lot of people going there, and there's a lot of people probably leaving there.
Yeah,
because they're like, well, fuck, am I gonna now bust my ass and not make the team? I mean, those are pussies, but still.
I mean,
they're weighing their option. They're like, well, I might as well just go play for North Texas.
Did we talk about it? Did we talk about it last week, or did we just talk about the Deion rumors? I don't know if we ever talked about anything him Colorado just yet. I just wanted to get your 2 cents on the speech before we do our picks.
No, I thought his speech was good. I mean, he's coming in hard-headed, and I think the guys that were there, I believe the coach before was more of a Todd Bowles type of coach.
Right.
And I think that's why, as an African-American man, he was only at UCLA, I think 5 or 6 years.
I also just thought that
those coaches don't last long usually.
Well, I also thought personally that, they were a 1-11 football team. And it's like the standard's changing, and I think people need to be okay with that. I had just seen a lot of backlash.
Yeah, you know why? Because they're pussies.
Right, talking about how, if I went to Colorado, I would have just got up and left.
Okay, well, guess what? That's why you didn't go to Colorado. That's why you're sitting at home on Twitter.
All the disrespect that he's showing these players.
Then they've never played. They never played any kind of sports because coaches don't give 2 shits at certain levels. They're like, fuck the, that's why Deion said he doesn't want to coach the NFL. Because you can't really do that in the NFL.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't because you're talking to other grown men, and unfortunately, guys just aren't going to sit there and be talked to like that.
And listen, and there's still coaches, and there's still an opportunity for certain coaches and certain teams to be able to talk that way, whether the nil or whatever. Because
and I think
number 1, 2, 3 wide receivers, they may go, fuck you, I'm going to transfer. Okay, and you know what? Those guys usually fade away.
Right.
Because it's not a team. Or when they get to the NFL and the team at that point, it's not just about the coach's discipline. It's the players, the veterans that have been there. And they're like, fuck you, man. Just get, you know what? Like, look at Zach Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cocky motherfucker.
Yep.
He was a stud in college. And then, the players now are like, hey, fuck off. We don't care if you're the first round pick, the franchise quarterback. You're a dick and we don't like you.
Right.
And you know what? Oh, we're not going to block for you and you're going to look like shit and you're going to be out. And Mike and the coaches know that we know how to play. But I don't know. I mean, I thought this speech was good. I think he's going to have some change. I mean, look, it's not like he's coming into a 10-1 Colorado team.
Yeah, I know.
We know what we're doing because the coach retired or left or whatever. But
yeah,
I
just thought it was not baffling, but I just thought the amount of people who really weren't okay with what he went in there and said. Like, I understand the impression you can get if you are a parent and you went to Colorado and you sent your kid there to play for Colorado, and then in comes Dion and he's got all these guys that are about to take your kid's spot. Maybe you can feel slighted by it, but like they weren't good. I don't think anything Dion said was untrue.
Correct.
I do think he is maybe coming in a little cocky, but that's just Dion. That's just what he does, dude. He's. I mean, that's.
Looked at the USF guy. I mean, who do you want? I mean, like Eric, who do you think's going to be successful
in the first year? Probably Dion much more.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's USF, and even some of those guys transferred, but I still think. I mean, Dion has that swagger.
Right.
I think that's what makes Dion Dion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna go through our college bowl picks next week, with the spreads. So
all
I mean, it's gonna
games.
It's gonna make. Well, no, we're gonna go through some of them, but I mean, our picks are gonna be obviously online, but then also our favorites, things like that. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through all 42.
Have you had correspondence with Brian? Is he going to participate? Is he going to show up next week? And
he wanted to when I talked to him about it 3 weeks ago. I guess times have changed. I mean, we're not going to break down the Lending Tree Bowl, Rice versus Southern Miss.
Why not?
Or the Frisco Bowl, North Texas versus Boise State. Jeez, I'm just looking at some of these games. Holy crap.
Marshall, Yukon.
Eastern Michigan, San Jose State, Liberty, Toledo.
Baylor, Air Force. I saw Baylor. I mean, Air Force is what, like 9-3?
Yeah, Baylor's not a bad team to watch, but then you come up to Western Kentucky versus Southern Alabama.
That's going to be a barn burner.
UTSA versus Troy. I mean, Troy's pretty good. I mean, those smaller schools are good, but when you get to Iowa to Kentucky and they don't have their quarterback,
yeah,
that's what I think. But going through the NFL picks back into that, since now we can't really pick college. I mean, unless you want to pick Army, Navy.
Navy.
All right, I'm gonna go Army then.
Navy. I think Navy has the better uniforms this year.
Do they?
If it's the ones that I think it is, I thought they had like a NASA uniform. Maybe it's a different school.
You thinking of the space station school?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
No fucking clue what you're talking about.
Oh.
I said the space station school.
I thought either Army or Air Force had a NASA-themed like uniform this year, and they were going to wear it for bowl week, and I thought it was going to look really dope. But aside from that, I mean, fucking, I don't know, Navy.
Okay, Air Force. I mean, it's one of those depressing Saturdays where you just realize that college football every Saturday that
it's over.
It's over, and now you're looking at all these bowl games, and then those will go quick, and we're back into NFL, but it gets sad. Rhett, go for your NFL picks.
Yeah, so I like the Bucks over San Francisco this week, plus 3.5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do think the Bucks can make some noise here. You get to 7-6, who knows what's going to happen after that. The world is your oyster, if you will. The other pick that I had, not necessarily an underdog, but call me fucking crazy. I think the Lions are going to beat the Vikings this week. Lions favored by 2.5 in that one, so I think they'll lay 2.5 on them, but I do think they can win that game. I think the Vikings have been good enough, but with the Lions playing people close, it's usually a coin flip. And I think Minnesota's just one of those teams that, like, as we get to the end of the regular season, they're going to start to lose a few more. You know what I mean? Like, they just strike me as one of those teams. I know I'm a believer in Kirk Cousins, Team Kirk over here, but I like the Lions this week.
Do you have one more?
The last game that I hadn't entirely picked it out yet, but I will tell you this. I like I like the Dolphins over the Charger. They are favored by 3, so I think they win.
In L.A. All right.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins can go on the road and win it. The Chargers have not necessarily been falling apart, but they just haven't been great.
Well, the weird thing with the Lions is that they're for some reason 2.5 point favorite.
I know.
They're playing at home.
That's
so
the thing is that it's
they're
like
keeping it close, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I was gonna pick that game. I think I found a little bit better. I do like the Giants +7.
I picked the Giants last week, and they fucking tied.
Well, you got that +7 now, though, and I know the Eagles are playing at it, but it is a divisional game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Giants cover. It's in New York.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of +7. I don't think the Eagles are 10 points better than the Giants. Seattle. This is actually pretty surprising to me. In Seattle, a 3.5 point spread in Seattle. I say it again, in Seattle, against Carolina. That I mean, Carolina traveling out to Seattle. I'm like Kamala Harris now. I think that's a really good pick there, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I think Seattle, played in Seattle, will be able to beat Carolina in Seattle. And I think the 12th man in Seattle will be able to beat Seattle. And the last one, I have the Pats. I think New England, even traveling to Arizona, -1.5. I think that the Patriots bounce back. I think they do get their running game together. I think Stevenson is a lot better than he played last week. Mac Jones does what he does. The Cardinals, I think it's gonna be a good game. I think there's gonna be a lot of offense, but I think for 1.5, I think the Patriots take that one.
I agree.
I did look at the Dolphins one that you were saying too. I don't know, man. The Chargers aren't playing bad.
They're not playing bad, but they're not playing as well as I would have hoped.
But does Tua get his head around again? Is he still missing his offensive lineman that he talked about? Is Waddle going to be 100%? I mean, there's no point to ask about Gesicki because he doesn't even throw the ball to him. I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill is going to put probably 100 yards every time. So who knows? I mean, I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. I mean, I'll probably bet on the Dolphins just because, I want the Dolphins to win, but I think that's going to be a tough game at 3.5. Xerxes69 asked, should the Patriots fire Patricia?
Yes.
Yes, but I don't see Belichick doing that. If anything,
I'm just surprised he's still their offensive coordinator at this point. Like, I am surprised that he is still allowed to call plays.
Well, I'm surprised that Byron Leftwich is still the offensive coordinator too. I don't see that. Maybe Belichick brings in a quarterback coach or something similar to that, and it's almost like a co-offensive coordinator.
It's actually kind of surprising to hear, and it made sense when I heard it, and we can wrap up with this if you want to, because you're done with your picks, right? That was it?
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
Take too long on my pits there?
No, not at all. You didn't take too long in your pits.
Do you want to go back to the NFL and just keep talking about that?
No, I wanted to talk about Todd Bowles and why Byron Leftwich is still the offensive coordinator of the Bucs and is going to remain the offensive coordinator of the Bucs for the rest of the season. They're not going to fire him mid-season because if you do that, you're going to be in a position where you got to hire from within on Bruce's staff, because let's not forget that Todd Bowles did not arrange this staff.
No, Bruce Arians did, and Bruce Arians wanted Byron Leftwich to be the offensive coordinator. And I don't think Bruce Arians wants to fire because, if anything, at the end of the year, I think they let him go look for a coach.
At the end of the day, Todd Bowles is the one who has final say-so on the staff right now. So at the end of the year, I think he's going to go ahead and let Byron Leftwich go. And I think he's going to break away from the Bruce Arians coaching tree. I think he's going to bring in an offensive coordinator that maybe he has a better idea of how he's going to be.
I can see that, but I also see
less risk.
They don't release Byron Leftwich in the beginning, because I think they're all friends. They don't want to hurt his image. I think they let him go search, for a head coaching job, which I think he lost that luster this year. Mm-hmm. But I think if he goes searches for a different position, maybe a associate head coaching position or offensive coordinator at a different team, I think maybe they just don't fight for him.
Yeah,
and they just say, look, we just Byron Leftwich was pay a little bit more, whatever. And then I think Todd Bowles brings in a different offensive coordinator, because if he doesn't and they don't turn that around, it's especially if they lose Tom Brady, I don't think Todd Bowles is long for being the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Rhett,
Lummy? Thank you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Maybe Brian will be back, or maybe his fucking grandma, or someone will be not feeling well, or he'll have work stuff to do, or who knows. But thank you, everyone that was listening today. We are live tomorrow, 6 a.m. Twitch.tv/TheBubbaArmy. Don't forget to check out our link for our college football pick'em. We're gonna try to get it up, or just go to Lummy's BTLS on Twitter.
It's in the chat. If you scroll up, it's in there. I don't know how much longer it's gonna be once the live stream ends, but it's definitely on Twitter at Lummy's BTLS.
And then we'll try to get it up some other way, through the show if Bubba's okay with it. But for all your Bubba Army merch, don't forget the Bubba Army store, BubbaArmyShop.com. A lot of good stuff up there.
And one more thing, sorry. Make sure you check out our youtube.com/TheBubbaArmy, where you're watching the show right now, more than likely.
Unless you're on our Facebook, which if you're on our YouTube, go check our Facebook out.
Got an interview with Pat Maroon going up today at 5.
And check our shorts out. But also, if you're on our YouTube and are not on our Facebook, get over there, check that out. And if you're listening on Facebook, get over to our YouTube, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell for notifications.
Basically,
so when we're back on.
Just take us in from all angles.
Exactly.
Every position.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow. See ya.